Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. Hey, what's up, everybody? Recording my thoughts about day 2 of practice. Well, really day 3 of practice at the Senior Bowl. Not the Senior Bowl. East-West Shrine Bowl. My mind's already into next week. But just giving out my thoughts about what I saw here in my second day at East-West Shrine Bowl. But more importantly, day 3 of East-West Shrine Bowl. There's really a lot to get into. I focused today on really locking in on the offensive line. I thought there were a few standout performances for sure at this group for the offensive line, especially on the second team of the day to practice. Really what I'm looking for when you're looking at what the Browns are projected to do, right, when they're going down to the wire on a head coaching search between Grant Udinski and Nathan Shieldhouse, which is, what's been reported. I imagine if Jim Schwartz gets the job at head coach, which I don't anticipate happening, but he could, as the fallback, get the job as a head coach. I don't think the offensive scheme is going to be dramatically different from a what you're asking players to do standpoint or skill set. So that being considered, I'm sorry, my audio equipment's moving around. It's kind of a makeshift setup here. But that being considered, what I really want to see offensive linemen do here is it's cool to win on one-on-ones. It's really cool to do that. And I think in the past, I've relied more on just one-on-ones. But I really need to see what you do in the team drills, the 3-on-2s, right? How do you work combo with other people? Really, I think important thing for anybody that you're projecting to be a guard in the Brown system, how well do you move? Because the Browns will ask those guards to move, haul ass a lot, and hit in space, right? Even tackle prospects, the Browns are going to ask them to move around and hit in space. All right, so that all being said, there were some players that stood out. We'll start with the first team to practice today, which was the East roster. Offensive line-wise, the East, not as impressive as the West team. I think that was pretty consistent through both days that I've been here. But that being said, Georgia offensive lineman Micah Morris, I thought he had a really solid day. I thought he was the best offensive lineman on that roster. Really just moved around great, did great in one-on-ones. There were a couple of team drills. You can go out and see him hit in space. And he did a really good job of hitting in space and being able to kind of be comfortable out there. There's a lot of offensive linemen, if you watch them, when they pull, when they're asked to kind of hit smaller targets moving, they can't really do it well. They don't have great accuracy. He did a good job, I thought, today. There is another guy I want to talk about. Is it Emil Wagner, 59? Yeah, 59 out of Notre Dame. I had a solid day. I don't know if he plays tackle in the league, and I don't know how high you rank him as far as draft value goes, but I thought he had a decent showing. Another standout on that East roster today, I would have to say, is Wisconsin edge Mason Reiger, number 22. Yeah, if you look at Wisconsin edge, him, the size, the lean profile, he's a little stiff, right? A little bit stiff there, but really physical. I thought he won in a couple of different ways in team and one-on-ones. And, he's showing off his build here. He had like the little crop top on. He has like an 8-pack. So the dude's fucking shredded. So that's all there as well. So Mason Reiger, 22 out of Wisconsin. That's really all I took away from the East practice. I didn't really focus on the skill players or anything like that. So if I missed somebody that you love on that East roster at the skill position, there wasn't anything there. As far as quarterbacks go, I thought Cade probably is like overall, if you're just looking for a quarterback to play tomorrow, Cade's probably the best quarterback on the team. I honestly would be partial to Jalen Daniels being a better draft pick than Cade Klubnik at this point, because the tools for Jalen Daniels are there. He's ripped off a couple of throws during East-West practice that I felt like were pretty impressive. He's a good runner, good athlete, good build. He's somebody who's going to be a better draft pick than they were a college football player. or a better prospect than they were a college football player. All right, let's jump to the west side of the roster. But before I do, I got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code Worst Take. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. All right, the West roster in the West practice I thought was much more interesting over both days of being at East-West Shrine. So I got way more notes for the West practice than I do the East practice. I thought there were a number of guys who stood out here, especially on the offensive line. I thought the offensive line at the West practice was much more interesting to talk about. All right. So there was a kid out here from Wyoming. I got to pull up his name on the roster. Malman, we're going to talk about him. The Slippery Rock kid, Joe Cooper, was actually pretty solid today. But where's the Wyoming kid? Yeah. Caden Barnett. That's the guy. Offensive guard, 78 out of Wyoming. He's interesting because he is a bowling ball. You know, I joked around. He's kind of like if you put Wyatt Teller in the dryer. He's not as big as Wyatt, but similar build, similar demeanor, similar idea between both of them. He is the equivalent on the offensive line to a C-ball hit ball linebacker, right? Like you have these prospects that come out and you're like, yeah, that's a C-ball hit ball guy at linebacker. He's not going to process a ton, but if you tell that guy to get trigger downhill and hit somebody really, really hard, he can do that. Pat Queen's a great example of that. He's in that mode. I think he is a C-ball, get ball, or C-gap, hit gap offensive guard prospect here. Did really well in a box, right, on the one-on-ones. In the team drill stuff where he's pulling and you're just asking him to hit somebody and not really make a read. I thought he was pretty solid there as well. I think there's something there with him. He did need a lot of coaching and individual drills. Like the coaches were constantly coming up to him and trying to instill different things in him. A bit of a bowling ball, right? See ball, get ball kind of guy. But I think there's some potential use there for him, especially if you're looking for somebody who could be eligible tackle in a heavy set, or maybe somebody who can help you out specifically on rundowns. The Browns rotated guards last year. I don't know if that's something they want to carry out with the new offense or anything like that. Joe Cooper, offensive tackle out of Slippery Rock. I thought he had his best day today. He's making that leap from Division II. Shout out to Slippery Rock. It's a small school in Pennsylvania near Youngstown State. So I keep an eye on it. But yeah, small school, definitely had a better day today. I thought James Neal was okay. He was better the first day than he was today. Who else stood out? Micah Pettis. Now, Micah Pettis really stood out, had a great day yesterday. I don't think he was that great today. Looked a little bit slow with his feet. Looked a little behind, wasn't really accurate with his hands today either. But the thing is with him, he's long, he's big as shit, and he moves okay for a guy who's long and big as shit. He does have those big guy feet. It's something you got to pay attention to. So it's not going to be a perfect prospect, right? But he is somebody that you think you can work with. If I had to give an award for who I thought the best two linemen were today, it would probably be between Riley Malman out of Wisconsin and Garrett DeGorgio out of UCLA. Riley Malman out of Wisconsin, 71. He's a big, tall sumbitch, and he's built just like a tackle would be built, right? I don't think he's going to flip inside the guard anytime soon because he has such a traditional tackle build. But with all of that being considered, he moves well. He gets to space and he can hit in space okay for a guy that's as long and as big as he is. He's stiff as shit. Like the Wisconsin guys, all of them are stiff, right? Like really stiff. But I think he is agile enough, has good enough feet to where I think he can play tackle at the NFL level. Is he a starter? That's a different conversation. I got to watch more tape to know about that. But what I saw from him these 2 days, I'm intrigued, and I'm going to go back into the logs and go look at some tape of him because I thought he was pretty intriguing today. Who is the other one? Riley. No, Garrett DeGorgio, UCLA offensive tackle, 72 today. He's not a starting tackle in the league, but I think he can start at guard. He was really good today. They had him at some reps at center. Thought he whipped some ass at center. Didn't get to see him at guard, so it's really just a projection there at guard. At tackle, he doesn't have the feet to keep up at tackle. He's going to get blown off the ball quite a bit at the tackle position, but I think there's a guard there for sure. Good size, solid build for a guard. And again, when they had him inside the one-on-one drill, thought he looked even better. So that's somebody to pay attention to, somebody I'm going to add onto my board as we go forward, because I thought Riley was not Riley. Well, Riley was good, but Garrett DeGorgio out of UCLA was pretty damn solid today. There's some other players here. Let me get a skill player in here. 21, Caden Wetjen. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's so fucking fun to watch, man. Like, good feet, fast. Really just get the ball in his hands and give him something to do. Capital F football player. And I think that's something to keep in mind when you're going through these all-star circuits, is you're going to have questions of, can he play guard, or what position he is in the league. Really, the first question you want to answer with anybody is, can they play football? And that guy, that Iowa kid can play football. I had Corey on the other day, and he was talking about him, just his ability as a returner. He's going to be real fun, right? There's always a wide receiver that pops up into somebody's camp and the fan base falls in love with them. I guarantee you that's going to be Caden. The way that he played in practice today. There was also, I think in the first practice, so let me go to the East roster real quick. He was a kid out of Navy, defensive tackle guy. Yeah. Landon Robinson. I forgot to talk about Landon. Landon Robinson, defensive tackle out of Navy. He's not big at all. He's undersized. He's about 291, I think he measured in. So he doesn't have that far to go. He's a short, stout, kind of bulldog build as a defensive tackle, but boy, is he fucking ferocious. He is a ferocious and tenacious son of a bitch out there on the football field, and he really, really, really gives everybody a go. 100% velocity, speed, everything. He's just fun as hell to watch. I think he's going to be interesting, especially like in a a Jim Schwartz style scheme where all you're asking your three techs to do is just boom, go at the quarterback, be ferocious. I think he could be another guy that the Browns could have interest in. And I think if they did bring him in, you would notice, I think he would be a fan favorite in camp early on. Any other notes here for the Senior Bowl? Malachi Lawrence was pretty good, the edge rusher. Brian Parker took some reps at guard. I thought he was much better at guard than he was at center. The guy out of Duke, so I'm interested to watch more of him. But that's really it from day 2 of East West Shrine. I'm looking forward to going to the Senior Bowl as well. But Shrine was a great experience. This Dallas Cowboys facility is amazing. I got to turn this camera around so you guys can get a look at it. But this thing is amazing. Look at this shit. Look at this. This is just beautiful, man. This is a practice facility. Look, they got a Jumbotron in here and everything. This is the nicest practice facility. Amazing, dude. The Ford Center is like crazy. The Browns should build something like this, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. But that's it, really. My thoughts here. You guys have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.